Hey, what's up, guys? This is the Invisible Black Elephants podcast. You are with your boy, Elder J, the pastor of politics, here again. And guess what, guys? We are here. We have made it. This has been the longest year ever. Still not over, but definitely the longest election year ever. And the amount of things that has been going on this year has just been crazy, out of the box. This is a history book election cycle. This is a history book election year, and I think it might actually be a history book election result. Possibly. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Guys, most of the people who are going to be listening to my show are probably going to be people who are right leaning, but I want us to be honest. Okay, and I know we have it in the bag for him. Trump's going to win, guaranteed. He's going to win 4 more years. I get it. That's the chant. That's what everybody's rocking with. But do we really think he can do it? I want us to be honest. That's what we're going to talk about today. I want us to be honest, guys. Let's pay attention to what's going on in politics. I know the polls don't matter to people. Yes, the polls are like that with Hillary. I get it. I get all of that. But let's be realistic. Let's be realistic here. We have to, because we're dealing with something that's going to be happening that is, catastrophic. 2020 was catastrophic. This is not a regular year. This is not Trump going in to the election based on this booming economy, based on all the lowest unemployment ever, based on people having more money in their pockets. This is not that type of election. We're going into it. COVID-19 is here. There's racial unrest everywhere. And all of these things are seen as negatives for Trump. So let's talk about it a little bit. 2020. We started off this year, guys, and I know it's been like forever ago, but we started 2020 with Trump being impeached. He got impeached in the House in December of 2019. So we started with his the case being made in January or February in the House. In the Senate, where he was actually he was found not to be guilty, for lack of better words. He wasn't impeached in the Senate, so therefore he remained in his office. However, that's how the year started. Everybody said, whatever, it's all good. We went through February, and then we hit March, and that's when it all went down, right? You had all kinds of things going on with the COVID-19. It started to come in. Things started happening. People didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how bad it was. We didn't have the amount of testing that we had. People was getting it. People were dying. The doctors didn't know what was going on. All the people who were in charge didn't know how to get out the testing fast enough. All of this stuff happened at the beginning of this year. We run into that. You run into the George Floyd situation. Once you run into the George Floyd situation, you get racial unrest everywhere, and you have sides being met. Now, again, a lot of this stuff should not have been political. When COVID-19 came, that should not have been political. It should have been bipartisan work. It should have been bipartisan agreement. It should have been bipartisan plans of attack. However, because this was an election year, all of these things happening, everybody knew, especially the Democrats knew, that if this happens under whoever's watch this happens under, they're going to be blamed for it. They're going to get all the negative press for it. So it was intentionally created. The response to COVID-19 was intentionally partisan in order to make the president look bad, in order for the president to have all this negative press on him and there's no unified front against tearing down and stopping and getting people well enough so that our economy, our country can move forward. So that happened on the COVID end. Now, when George Floyd hits, and actually there was little rumblings before that. I think like the Ahmaud Arbery situation happened earlier, and then you had, I think it might have been one other person I can't think of right now, but then it hit the George Floyd situation. Once it hit George Floyd, that the country just went off at that point. And again, that should not have been something partisan. Everybody was in agreement with it. Everybody thought this was a heinous thing that happened to a person, whether they were black, white, or indifferent. Everybody, almost all the police officers who talked about it believed that this was handled incorrectly. Everything. Instead of that being a moment of everybody coming together, it all became politicized. It now became a way to divide us even further. So now you have the side of the racial unrest. You have the side of Black Lives Matter. You have the side of riots and looting and all that. And then you have the side over here who are the All Lives Matter. You have the side of the let's not burn the American flag. Let's honor the flag. You have the side of let's not loot. We need law and order. So now you have the law and order versus the Black Lives Matter versus, and Antifa on one side. All of this is all political, and all of it looks at Trump. All of these were negatives on Trump, right? The whole time Biden was able to just relax. He hardly had to do anything because he knew everything that was going on in the country negatively was actually going against Trump. And to be honest, the things that happened this year all highlighted Trump's weak points. If you think about Trump, where is he weak? He's mostly weak in his speech, his rhetoric, how he talks. He's been a divisive person because he's been a brawler since he came in. He's faced opposition since he came in, and he hasn't been one to sit there and sit back and take the abuse, but he's been one to deal out just as much as he received back. So therefore, he has been a person who was not the touchy-feely, cuddly, warm and fuzzy guy. That's not him. But when when your country, you got people dying all over the place, you have the country in racial unrest where people are feeling like they're still feeling like they're subhuman, or they're being treated as they're subhuman. They're being treated unfairly. They don't feel like they're actually equal in this country. Those are when you actually kind of need the warm and fuzzy person. Now you can say, well, the policies that he put forth and this and that, but a lot of people actually need a politician who's going to be warm and fuzzy and who's going to rally everybody and try to get everybody all on one accord. That is not Trump's strong point. As a matter of fact, if Trump would have came out and just been warm and fuzzy all year round, people still wouldn't have accepted it, because they would have said, we don't believe you based on your history. You can't be this way for 3 years and then into your last year, all of a sudden you're warm and fuzzy. So nobody would have believed him anyway. So for him to even try, it wouldn't have been worth it. So all of these things look negatively. When you have a Joe Biden, people are not actually voting for Joe Biden. There is a group population of people who like Joe Biden. There's a lot of people who had picked, wanted Joe Biden to win when it was 20 Democrats he was going against. You do have some people that are out there that's like, I was rocking with Joe from the start. But most of the people especially the people who are in my target market, the black folk that I know, most of them are not voting for Joe Biden. They're not voting for Kamala Harris. They are just voting against Trump. So it would not have mattered who ended up on the other side. They would have just said, I'm voting for the other person. As a matter of fact, I have friends, one of these guys, a pastor on my Facebook friends, a person I know personally, he said years ago, after Trump was elected, he already said, when it comes for Trump next time, he said, I don't care if it's an earthworm. He didn't care if it was Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck. He was going to pick whoever it was that's opposing Donald Trump. So for him, it wasn't about policies. It wasn't about anything. They're looking at this person, Donald Trump, as being himself is being detrimental to the country. And there's a lot of people out there just like that, you guys. You got to think about it. These polls that are up there, it's not because these polls, these people who are, even though the polls are showing that, Biden is up in these areas and all that, it's not because he is bringing any kind of excitement. It's not because he's bringing any kind of joy. It's not because he's got this, super duper ground game and all this stuff like that. Nope. All it is they've crafted the narrative of all these people who are dead from COVID is Trump's fault. All this racial unrest that we have in the country is Trump's fault. So therefore, if you don't want to die from COVID, vote for us. And if you want to end systematic racism in the country, vote for us. That's the point. That's the whole point. It's about getting this person out of here because they're so detrimental to the country themselves. See, and this is one of the things that the Democrats are very, very, very good at doing. They're very good at making idols. Excuse me. They're very good at making idols. They're very good at projecting the shortcomings onto their opponents. They're excellent at doing this. So Donald Trump right now, he is not just some white guy and a Republican. Donald Trump is the representation, for example, of white supremacy in our country to leftists and to people who believe that. That's why even if somebody, so in the last few weeks, anytime somebody got shot by the cops, I don't care if it was Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake, any of these other people there's a guy that just got shot in Philadelphia. No matter what, after these events happen, you'll hear these people come together in these rallies and these marches, and they're trying to protest what happened. And they always saying, and we got to go vote, y'all. We got to go vote. That's why it's so important that we vote. What are they saying? They're saying this person got shot, Breonna Taylor got shot, and ain't nobody get justice because of Donald Trump. They're saying Jacob Blake got shot because of Donald Trump. They're saying the brother in Philadelphia got shot because of Donald Trump. What are they saying? They're saying Donald Trump represents this thing that's killing us. So therefore, if we get him out of office, we deal a blow. We strike back at the thing that's actually hurting us. Now, as ridiculous as this idea is, as if Donald Trump is the one who's responsible for local police officers, which is absolutely ridiculous, as if this stuff wasn't going on even when Barack Obama was in office. These people have short memories. However, because the Democrats own the media, because they own Hollywood, because they own all the athletes and all the entertainers, there's been one message that has been going out since the beginning of this campaign, his campaign. He is the epitome of everything that's wrong with the country. So guys, this is what's going on when you come to election day. All of this. Now, some of us have been able to look at and say, look, prior to COVID-19, what was the economy like? Our economy is shot right now. If we're going to get back up, who's the best one equipped to get us our economy back to where it needs to be? Some of us have been able to look at other policies. Some of us been able to look at COVID and say, hey, really, to be honest, if anybody else was in that position, they would have failed as well. It would have been terrible as well. Why? Because it was a new disease. It had a high spread rate and nobody knew what to do at the beginning. So, some of us are able to compartmentalize those things, but most of the country is not. Most of the country is not. That's why if you had a red hat and you're just walking down the street, sometimes, and depending on where you are, you're liable to get attacked. Why? Because people see that, and now they say, just like they've been saying, and you guys seen articles out there, the red hat is the new KKK hood. What did they do? They crafted a narrative of white supremacy, which is the KKK, and they placed it. They projected it. They made an idol of it and put the red hat on it. And then they had the media get involved. And then they had Hollywood get involved. And then they had all the entertainers get involved. And then they had all of social media get involved. So that now everybody else, the little folk like us, when we hear this, when we see it, we see exactly what they put in our heads. So this is what's going up against Donald. This is what Donald Trump is going up against. He's not going up against, the lowest unemployment rate ever, the lowest unemployment for all this. The country's doing excellent. The economy's booming. People's pockets are getting fatter. That's not what he's going up against in 2020. And so I was looking at all this stuff and I said, listen, 2020 is if anything, a perfect storm happened in 2020 to be able to come against Donald Trump. And everything looks like it was crafted perfectly to get him out of office. And for a while I was saying, you know what? There's no way Donald Trump can win. Now, the only reason I do think he still has a chance is not because of the polls. It's not because of the media. It's not because of people's posts that I see from my friends. But really, it's because I've seen the ground game. I've seen people in rallies. I've seen the trucks driving with the flags. I've seen the boats. I've seen people in California, in Portland, in Texas, in Florida, in New York. I've seen people all over the country in places where you would have never thought there'd have been any kind of Republicans there. And there you go, got flags and hats and Trump 2020 and Pence, and every rally that he goes to is always packed. And people are genuinely, this is not people voting for Trump because they just are voting against Biden. So that's what you have on the Biden side. On the Biden side, the rallies are quiet. Nobody really cares Biden. Biden doesn't hardly have to do any interviews. And when he does do an interview, he gets his little softballs. Sometimes he takes a picture here and there. Doesn't really have to do much. All he has to do is shut up, sit back. The media is going to take it and run with it and run his campaign for him. All he has to do is collect all the money, pay all the people that he has to pay to do what he needs to do, and that's it. But nobody's really excited for Joe Biden. But on this Trump side, when he shows up at the rallies, they're packed genuinely because people actually are excited about Trump's campaign. You see these people on the corner where it's not even a Trump rally. These people have been there for months standing in parks, standing on certain street corners, and have been there for months, going in, waving flags, singing songs, all kinds of things. There's been caravans. There's been people in airplanes with flags. Everything because they are actually excited for the Trump 2020. And that's the only real reason that I believe he does have a chance to be able to win this thing. Not because of the polls, not because of the early turnout and early voting numbers, not because of what I see on the media, but what I see from you guys who are in the streets, who are knocking on doors, who are waving your flags, who are marching down streets, who are standing and popping up in parks all over the country, who are making caravans and driving down the highways and, you know, waving your flags with your trucks and your cars. You guys and all those people who are showing up at the rallies, you guys are making me believe that it's actually possible for this man to win, even though everything is against him. So we will see. We will see. I'm recording this video the night before. I'm going to let this thing go the day of, and we will absolutely see. This is one thing, though, that I want you guys to think about. If Trump wins, you have to be prepared. If you thought 2016, now I remember 2016 when Trump won. I mean, it was solemn. It was like when Trump won in 2016, and I never forget going to work. And on the way to work at that time, I was commuting. I'm taking the train into the work. It was so quiet on the train. People were just looking down, just staring at the newspapers. You know, people were just walking around like zombies. I get out of the train, and at the time working in downtown Philadelphia, and people are just walking down the street, just looking like zombies. I get into my job. I'm watching and looking at people just sad. Some people were just crying. People I'm talking to, their eyes are all red. Every Facebook post was negative. You know, black folk, we're going to go back into chains. They about to have us on the slave plantation all over again. We're about to lose all our rights. We're going to take away our voting rights. They're going to take away all of our ability to be able to earn. They're going to institute slavery all over again. I heard all of this genuinely in 2016. And I was looking at people like, you guys are absolutely crazy and you have went way too far. But that was 2016. Let me tell you, if Donald Trump wins in 2020, all hell is going to break loose. Absolutely. I mean, if you think you had your looting and your burning and the cities and the people and trashing things now, you know, randomly in different places, if Donald Trump wins, be prepared for that to happen all over the country as a result of Donald Trump winning. Now, you guys who are on the right, if Donald Trump loses, sit your tail down. We're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, but do not act a fool out here. But trust and believe the liberals, the Democrats, people on the left, Antifa, BLM are going to act a fool. Your family members are going to be crying. If they know that you are a Trump supporter, they will. Even if you thought you got some hatred before, watch the hatred that will come to you after the fact. Watch the news, because I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. One of the things that is gonna, shock a lot of people is Trump is going to get a sizable amount of the black vote. In 2016, he got 8% of the black vote. And some of the news people was upset because black people basically didn't turn out, not because of the 8%, but because black people didn't show up in the large numbers for Hillary Clinton like they showed up for Barack Obama. And so you had some people saying, black men, where were you? Black people, why didn't y'all show up? You know, blah, blah, blah. Well, this time, Donald Trump is going to, in my opinion, at the very least, get 16% of the African American vote, which will be double what he did the last time. But beyond doubling what he got last time, I don't think black people have voted for a president a Republican president over 15% in like forever. I can't remember if it was maybe even Nixon or Ronald Reagan who got at least 15% of the African American vote, but you haven't seen anything over 15% in like decades. So if he gets just 16%, he's already broke recent history as far as a Republican receiving a certain amount of the African American vote. I believe that's the minimum amount that he'll get. And I believe he could possibly get up to 22%. From 16 to 22% is my calculation of what he'll get of the African American vote. Now, let me tell you, if that happens, and you black folk who are open Trump supporters, if he wins, you were already getting hate before. If he wins, though, trust me, it's going to be even worse for you. So we guys got to be careful out here in these streets. Y'all going to be out here celebrating on the corners again with your Trump flags. Be careful out here in these streets because these liberals are going to lose their absolute minds. Okay? So here's my thing. You guys who are for Trump, chill if he loses. You guys who are against Trump, chill if he loses. But be aware, guys, that something is going to go down. Now, I want to end with this last thing. For all of you who are Trumplicans, you're not Republican, you're not Democrat, you weren't really into politics, but you like Trump. And so you're out here. All of the MAGA gang, all of you who got music that's MAGA, and you got your MAGA gear. If Trump loses, what are you going to do afterwards? I need to know. What are you going to do? Are you going to still get into politics, or are you just going to give it up because I was on the Trump train, Trump was fun, politics as normal is not really good, and then allow your cities, allow your states to just go to the wayside because you clock out because regular politicians aren't a personality like Trump? Is that what you're going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to give up? Are you going to complain? Are you just going to go back to the way things were? Or are you going to realize that we're at the precipice of trying to protect this country? And even if Trump loses, we still have an opportunity to stop the foolishness. If Joe Biden wins, the country is not going to go to socialism immediately. It will take a couple steps closer. But it's not going to be there immediately. We still have an opportunity to fight. So I want you guys to really think. Trump is somebody who comes around every so often. You don't get Trumps all the time. Even on the Democrat side, you don't get Obamas all the time. Those are not common personalities that come around. We really have to start thinking about the policies. We really have to start thinking about the future. We really have to start thinking about what is it going to be beyond this Trump era. When Trump is gone, you might actually be able to have some better conversations with people. What are you going to do then? When Trump is gone, it might be easier to red pill people. What are you going to do then? This is why I told you guys earlier on, we don't put personality over policy. That includes Donald Trump. So I'm excited for this to finally be over. I'm sick of every text message. I'm sick of every Facebook post. I'm sick of every basketball game. I'm sick of every football game. I'm sick of every person who's supposed to be a comedian that all they talk about is this. I'm sick of all the voter die videos. I'm sick of did I tell you I'm sick of the text messages already? I'm sick of every single day I'm getting 4 or 5 text messages from these groups telling me, please go out and vote. Sick of it. Hopefully, and now this is the worst part, right? Because with all this mail-in ballot and all this stuff like that, we won't even, after it's all said and done on Tuesday, that won't even be the end. They'll still be calculating for probably 2 weeks all these votes. And then whoever wins, I'm sure they're going to contest the election results. So then we got to wait again to try to figure out what's going on. Oh my God, people, this is going to be a long ride, but I cannot wait till this is finally over so we can go on about our business, get back to some kind of normalcy, and just make things happen all over again. But remember what I said, guys, it's going to get rough out here for the next couple of days. It's going to be crazy. You guys out there, be careful. Liberals are going to be upset if he wins. It's going to go down. If you have a business, board that thing up over the next couple days, or do something. Make sure you protect your homes if you're in a situation, if you're in those areas that are prone to get buck wild. Protect your homes, protect your family, and y'all just be safe out there. Pray for the nation. Pray for whoever wins. Pray for the direction of this country. Pray for the wisdom for our leaders and their protection. And pray that we will once again become and be the United States and not the divided states. All right, people. Thanks a lot for indulging me. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me everywhere at the Invisible Black Elephants. Peace.